Okay, everyone. So, first of all, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, based on your time zones. So, I'm just welcoming you into the today's session for the Secure Your Cloud. So, today for 2 hours, we will be discussing how you can protect your cloud, and we will be seeing what is the best, what are the few hands-on techniques. Although I know within 2 hours covering everything that how to secure your cloud is not possible, but we will be seeing what are the best practices, some suggestions, some techs that are out there. Okay. And for those guys who don't know me, I'm just going to give you a very small introduction about myself. So if I'm talking about myself, just to give you the intro and giving everyone the chance to join our session. So myself, Rishabh Kotial, and I'm your speaker for the day. And I'm having more than 8+ years of experience in domain of cybersecurity. I started somewhere with the your offensive security, then moved towards a bit on the defensive side, and then I start doing the cloud for my projects. And since then, I'm just working with the cloud and cloud security suggestions, all those kind of things. In the last 2 years, we have seen a surge in the cloud. People moving toward the cloud. Solutions are being served as the cloud as a solution. Means they are infrastructure as a service, security as a service, container as a service, database as a service. So today's webinar is all about what is the cloud, how you can secure your cloud, and if I give you a bit of the intro about myself itself. So I am an MCT, Microsoft Certified Trainer. When we are as we are going to go ahead and we are going to talk about securing your cloud, right? So let's just start with the today's session, that what is cloud, how to secure it. So yeah, that is the one of the thing that what we are going to do for the day. Now another thing is, while everyone is joining us, let me just give them 2-3 more minutes. So for that, what we are going to do, let's just start with discussing something about the today's webinar agendas and the different introductions. So first of all, I think most of you will be familiar with the Infosec train that we have now. A kind of, we were startup way back in 2016. Now a lot of you must be familiar with us. We are delivering the professional training program all around the globe now. So this is bit about our clients, our endorsement bit of the bit of the things. And as you know that we are partners with the multiple different vendors itself, including vendors like your Microsoft, Comcia, ITPNO, INSEE Council, ISACA, right? These are some of our trusted vendors as well. Now, for those guys who are interested in learning the cloud, some of you must be from the security field who just want to start getting started with the cloud. So what we have done, if you have kind of no idea and you want to just get started with the basic, then you want to incorporate security and then governance, risk, compliance in, you want to get that kind of a knowledge itself, right? So for the people who are enthusiasts in the cloud and cloud security, we have created mid an associate level course itself. This is our in-house course, which will be the name Cloud Security Practitioner. I'm just giving you a brief of this course over here, that what in that particular course we are discussing. We are discussing cloud basics and model, or how to start with the cloud, what is cloud, and all those kind of a thing. Then try to understand compute and configuration, like deploying VM, disk, images, scaling, all those kind of things we will be talking about over there. Then there will be the things like the threat modeling, application security, talking about those things. Then moving on to the network resources part, deploying the VPN, VNet, jump server, bastion, right? Logging option, troubleshooting the options over there, what are infrastructure as a code, then encrypting and protecting the data. So as you can see, a lot of the hands-on are coming over the path. Means this course is going to be bit practical as well, right? So you will be doing some demonstrations over there as well. So this will be one. Then quick views on the container, just getting you guys familiar with the container, what are containers and all. Then dealing with the your identity and access management over there. Then moving towards the your cloud incident security operation, how the security operations work, what are the options that is available, all that kind of a thing. Then we will be moving toward the business continuity, disaster recovery onto that particular part. Then legal issues and policies in the cloud. What are the policies and legal issues? And then in the end, we'll be talking about managing the governance, risk, and compliance over there. So this is a bit of a brief of the course that what we have designed. And again, just to remind you guys that this course is going to be very helpful for those candidates who just want to learn something new, who is pretty much interested in learning the new things over the time period over here. So we are going to talk about these kind of things onto this particular part, right? What is happening, how things will be over there, and all these kind of things. So it is including security, cloud, and your legal issues. All these things will be discussed onto this particular course itself. Now I think we have enough, by now most of the candidate what is going to be the interested in today's webinar has joined this particular session. So we are going to start with the agenda of the day. So in today's agenda, what we have, okay, so this is the agenda. First, we are going to talk about your protect the platform, right? In today's agenda, what we have opted for is first, as I was saying, guys, that we have already conducted some of the webinars earlier as well. So when we are talking about the your that what we are going to work and all that kind of thing. So when we are talking about this thing, that how to deploy a VM and all, so there you will be finding that Infosec train had conducted few other of the your uh, sessions as well. So those sessions are containing these things. Like one of the session that you'll be finding on the YouTube on our Infosec train channel, that when we are talking about this cloud security practitioner, I have conducted one particular bootcamp for that 4-hour videos where we have talked about the different aspects like security as a service. We talked about the GRC as well, security operations, those kind of a thing. Even there I have demonstrated that how you can go ahead and work with the your deploying the VMs, NSG, those kind of a thing. So today we will be just kind of building on that knowledge. So we are not going to see that how we are going to create a VM or all. So directly we will be talking about what is the security part, cloud, then protecting your platform, okay, deploying a jump server over there. Then we will be talking about the your securing your data, how to protect your data services, what options are there for the encryption, why the identity part is important, and then what is security operations, security as a service. So this is something that what we have discussed earlier as well, but again I want to discuss these things today. So we will be starting now the session with the basics and the cloud platform. So every time I start any cloud session, I always ask this thing that what is a cloud, right? And I think by now most of you guys will be familiar that what is a cloud. And if not, I think you can give your answers, right? In the meantime, I am going to just discuss that what are the different vendor that you might have heard of. And as we are talking about the cloud, so I think most of you will be familiar that there is the different types of cloud. One of them is deployment type, one is the like your public cloud, one is your private cloud, and then there will be your hybrid, community, multi-cloud, these kind of things as well. Hybrid, your community cloud, right? These kind of a thing. Now when we are talking about the public cloud, you will be familiar, I think most of the vendor you guys are very well versed with or even heard about them, like Azure, there is going to be AWS, and there is GCP, and these are the big three player in the field of the cloud. Now apart from this, there is Oracle, there is going to be your Ali Cloud, Ali Cloud, different vendors are also there. Okay, so this is something that is over there, most of the time the definitions and all, and different vendors. So while I was asking for the okay, for the general idea, let me tell you what is going to be the cloud. Okay, so the cloud will be, I always say that cloud is your on demand IT resource platform. Okay. And I think if you guys have heard me speaking on these things, I am speaking on the cloud from a very long time, public webinars and the different seminars as well. And I always give one example, that is of the on-demand movies, right? So I remember the time when we used to have that on-demand movie through your cable operator. You just request for a movie, they will be providing you that particular movie and you will be watching it on your TV. That thing is now replaced by your Netflix or Amazon Prime, right? Hulu, Disney Plus. So whatever services you are using, it is just similar to that. So what is happening? If I am going for the Netflix, what I am doing, I'm purchasing one particular subscription. First of all, they ask that you need to have one subscription. So let's say that I purchase a subscription where I can create 4 profile, I can watch in 4K, right? So what I'm doing, I'm paying them for their services, and what they are doing whenever I want. So let's say that I'm sitting in a flight. Okay, I was waiting for the flight in a terminal, and I think, okay, let's just connect to the airport's Wi-Fi, and let's just watch a movie on a Netflix. So I can do that because what I have done, I have paid for the subscription, I'm paying for them, and whenever I want, I can see from their catalog what they have. They have a catalog of movies, series, animes. So whatever you want to see, they will be providing it to you. Now cloud is something like that, but difference is they are not going to show us the movie. Okay, they are not going to give you the, okay, next season of the Stranger Things or next season of the Boys, right? So it is just going to give you the IT resources. So let's say that what I was requiring that, okay, let's just go ahead and I want some storage space. So what it did, it gives me the storage space. Okay, it gave me the storage space. Then it goes ahead, and I was asking that give me the virtual machines to some compute resource, some CPU, some RAM, some networking. I want to go ahead and use something like VPN services. I want to just go ahead and use a file share service. So whatever you require, those things are given to you and you are accessing them on the cloud. So in simplest term, we can understand the cloud in such particular way itself, right? So this is a very basic thing regarding the your cloud. So the same thing, these kind of a things we have discussed in earlier in the past as well. Okay, I was just looking for this something in the videos section of the YouTube. So what we have done in the past as well is that okay, a few videos that you will be finding on YouTube. One will be this course which will be talking about the launch, and this is the one. This link is there for our YouTube channel, and in this one I have discussed what is the cloud security practitioner, basic of the cloud, the official definition that has been given by your different vendors itself, like also publication. In the different publication, whatever definitions you were having, I have defined those things. What is the public cloud, private cloud? So I'm just not going to jump into those basics. So if you guys are interested, you can just simply go ahead and do this over here. Okay, use this one onto this particular part, right? So this is one thing. Okay, so if you guys are interested in learning the basics and all, here you can always find the basics. So let me just close this one and let me just go back to the your part. Right. Okay, so when we are talking about the cloud basics and all these kind of things, these are always going to be part. Now I was discussing the public cloud, the example I was giving. Why? Because most of the time you will be consuming the service of a cloud through these services, or might be in your own organization you have your on premise data centers. which you are using to host your own infrastructure, and for more governance, compliance, and control, you will be having those private of your uh, cloud as well, on-premise data centers. So when we have these things, so what always come up? So when we are talking about the, your security and all, so there is always something that is going to bugging us. So what happened is, during last 2 years, we can say, since this pandemic happened, lot of our services companies, they start migrating towards the cloud. Now when they start migrating towards the cloud, what happened is, one thing we say, the lack of expert, right? So yes, there were a lot of people who were expert in that field. Even Microsoft was planning to do something like this over the time period of 3 years. So they were not also preparing this kind of a surge in the access of their services within three years. They were planning things very smoothly, right? But this thing has pushed them as well. So a lot of organizations, they start using cloud-based services, and due to this, what happened is, for the attackers, what simply happened is, they found more attacking surface. Okay. Now, if you will be looking into the services, they are no different than that what you use in your day-to-day on-premise data center, but still it is different because it was hosted somewhere else, and not everyone was expert with these things and options. So that's why what happened, it started creating a kind of a gap, okay, in our expertise plus in the attackers, getting those giving those attackers more attacking surface. So from logging to getting to encrypting, everything was a challenge, right? So that's why people start focusing on the cloud security as well. So when we are talking about the, your some guidance that you will be requiring, so if I give you a kind of a overview for a best security practices, few different field, just like your on premise, you need to give, do a bit of a focus. So you have to just start with thinking of about the GRC, governance, risk, compliance. You will be thinking about the your day-to-day security operations, right? That how they are going to happen in the cloud. Then you will be talking about the identity and access management, okay, IAM part, that is again going to important. There is going to be the, even your network is virtual, right? So the concepts like VPN, subnetting, these are going to apply on the network as well. So you will be focusing on that as well. That network security and containment, network security and containment, right? Then there is going to be the your information protection and storage. And then there is going to be that what you have to look for. You have to look for the applications and services, right? These kind of a overview, these kind of the different field that you have to think about, even though you are in the cloud. So I know most of you guys will be thinking, okay, Rishabh, this is the almost same as what is in our on-prem. And I will say yes, because what happened is, things are similar, infrastructure is going to be the almost similar, and concepts are going to be the similar. What you have done, you are just hosting it somewhere else. You have just introduced a new technology in between, right? This is what is happening. Now, when we are talking about the information security, it is going to be a complex subject. And one of the things that I like about this field is that it is evolving in a rapid pace. So you need to have some creative ideas, different implementations, how things should be implemented. And as a security researcher, constantly you need to do the security research on the different field, right? Keep learning. So even if you'll be asking me, I also do the same thing. Keep doing research, keep learning new things. So that is something that keeps us on our toes in this particular field. That rapidly changing technology, new attacks, new attacking vector, new bugs, how to protect them. So all these kind of things are going to be in there. Now, whenever we are talking about this thing, the origin of this security, right? If you look into the how all things evolve, so it evolved with the vulnerabilities, right? So first thing is, there will be some bugs, some vulnerabilities in application, in network designing, or anywhere. Now someone will be identifying them, then they will start exploiting them. It may be a simply a programming error, or some unexpected case over there, right? So over the time, we try to reduce the attacking surface, but with the addition of cloud, one more attacking surface has been added. So with time, complexity of the infrastructure, it will keep increasing, and we have to think that how to protect it. Attacker will also be developing themselves, and our focus will be how to protect on our security, our infrastructure, our architecture against those attacks. So security is one of the very important aspect of any architecture. It is going to give you the assurance that if there is any attack going on against your organization, if there is attack against your organization, any abuse is going on against your valuable data, so it will be giving you the confidence that yes, we can protect our CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. And this is always the security's basic pillars. So we have to just make sure that yes, when you are preparing yourself, you have to just make sure that these things are preserved under any circumstances over there. Now, because if you are losing any of these things, even a simple thing in these confidentiality, integrity, availability is what I think everyone is familiar with these three. Confidentiality is, if let's say I'm going to take some of your names for the your just for the purpose of example. So let's say that there is Bala, right? Now, if I'm sending some message to the Bala, or we have some Bala and me, we are having some access. Okay, there is a message by a management for both of us. So only Bala and me should be able to read that particular data, right? Or know or understand that data. That would be the confidentiality that what we are talking about. Then there should be no under any circumstances there should be no such case where let's say Bala is sending me that, hey Rishabh, what is happening, right? And that someone has tampered with that data in between, and I'm receiving something like, okay, bye Rishabh, let's just delete this project, right? So no one should be tampering with the data in between. So that means no one should tamper with the integrity of the data. And then there is going to be your availability, that yes, if there is a VM, there is a web server, those things should be available to you. So either it is a cloud service, your on-premise service, we need to protect these CIA. So when you prepare yourself, okay, in your architecture, when you are planning for the architecture, if you plan for the things, you will have that confidence that our CIA is preserved over here, right? Now, when we talk about the security, so things will keep if we talk about the big business, your organizations, so there will be a lot of system depending on each other. The whole architecture complexity will be increasing. So what we need to do, we need to understand each our business goal as well, how to manage different things, and we have to focus on the very specific design areas, right? On the different design area from the from the point of view of security. So one of the very important thing always is going to be your identity and access management, IAM. Who should be accessing your cloud services, who should not be, what kind of permission that person is going to have, that is identity and access management. Then you should be having bit of the threat intelligence with you, being bit of proactive to yourself, preserving yourself, getting the bit of the idea automation just to protect yourself against the different threats, malware protections, ransomware protection, and all those kind of things should be enabled over there. And you should be cloud security, you should be checking your posture itself, that how much secure you are and all those kind of things. Then there will be the data that will be stored, so that data that you have stored, how to protect them, so information protection is something that you need to focus on. Then governance, so as I keep saying governance, then there is this bit of a risk part as well. So GRC is always going to be on focus, how you're governing things in the cloud. Because one thing in the cloud is, I always say that if you are someone who is a very disciplined organization, you will be benefiting from the cloud a lot. But if you are someone who is not that disciplined, right, cloud is going to increase your worries, right? So no, you need to be that particular disciplined organization, and this is where governance will be helping you out. The day-to-day operation, task, policies, how things should be, right? Then bit of the risk management, and very specifically look for the insider risk, because in last few years, if you will be seeing the cases where compromises they happen either due to the lack of awareness, training, or with the insider risk. These are the big factor that is playing a very big role in the latest hack cases that you are listening nowadays. Then you need to be compliant, and then you should be having some solution which can help you to discover if something goes wrong in your particular infrastructure architecture, and give you the option to respond either some automation solution or your manual solution. So this is something that you should be aware of as well. Then there is going to be the your if we just talk about these things, apart from these things, there is let's just move ahead. We just trying to understand the your security design, where you should be focusing and all that kind of a thing. Now when we are talking about the cloud service provider, they will be trying to be compliant with the different IT regulatory and all those kind of scenario. Now what is happening in a very simplest example, that when we are using the public cloud, in the public cloud, the physical infrastructure is with your cloud service provider. So they are having those physical racks where machines are deployed and everything. So there is going to be this some shared responsibility. Okay, so in this shared responsibility, what is going to happen is something you are responsible, for the some of the things you are responsible, and for some of the things your cloud service provider is responsible. So we will be just guys right now trying to cover few bit of a theory, and then we'll be jumping and seeing few things practically as well. Okay, now when we are talking about this thing, shared responsibility, so when we are talking about the different features that are there, like we have physical data center, physical network, physical host, operating system, network control, application, identity and directory infrastructure, account and access management, cloud endpoints like your mobile devices, your laptops, all those things, and then data governance and the right management. So who's what is going to be your responsibility? You are the customer, and what is going to be the cloud service provider's responsibility? And now, guys, most of my diagrams and concept you might be seeing, I would like to thank Microsoft, because I am an MCT, so I have used their particular diagrams on the multiple points, because they are very interactive and good ones as well. So when we are talking about all these responsibilities in your on premise, when you have your own data center, you are responsible for everything. But with infrastructure as a service, for physical data center, physical network, and physical host, your cloud service provider will be responsible. Rest, your operating system, updating them, patching them, network control, application that is running, runtime environment, identity and directory infrastructure, your account and access management, client endpoint, and data governance. All of these things you will be responsible for, right? You are going to be responsible for all these things over there. Okay, then in platform as a service, this time up to the your even operating system. And for those guys who are not familiar with what is IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS, so I just shown you the particular link of our cloud security practitioners webinar bootcamp that happened earlier. You guys can go through that and get yourself familiar with the different services. Okay, so when we are talking about the platform as a service, so in platform as a service, in this time, operating system, its patching and everything will be done by the your cloud service provider. While for network control, it will be shared responsibility. Application will be shared responsibility as well. Plus identity and directory structure will be shared responsibility as well. Like in network control, if you have seen, some of the options are in your control. Like in Azure, there is one option of service endpoint, right? Or you just want that your web app should be only accessible within a particular virtual network only. So that kind of a settings you can do. You can give the IP addresses that only these IP address can access these things. So some of the thing is under your control, and some of the things will be taken care by the your cloud service provider itself. Same goes for the applications and the identity and directory structure as well. While in the software as a service means most of the thing, even you don't have to develop your application. Like if I'm talking about the O365, right? So when I'm talking about this 365 service or G Suite, so you are not going ahead and writing the code for Google Meet. You are not writing the code for the team, right? So that is all responsibility of cloud service provider. Now, you will be a bit worried about identity and the infrastructure. So you will be defining that who should be getting the access, when they should be getting access, and all these kind of a thing. While for account and access management, client endpoint, and your data governance and right management, this will be still falling with you. So this is from the security responsibility point of view. These are the shared responsibility. And in cloud, security is a shared responsibility. So this thing always you have to keep in mind that security is a shared responsibility itself. Now, we will be talking about some of the security design principles. So we are talking about the first thing, plan resource, how and what resources you are requiring, and then how to harden them. So hardening, I think all of us knows that if I'm talking about the OS hardening, close all unnecessary ports, stop all those unnecessary services. So those kind of a thing we will do so that our operating system is having the all proper security configuration. So first thing is you have to plan that what resources, if I want to deploy my web app on the cloud, I have to plan that what resources I will be requiring and how I'm going to deploy them. Then what is going to happen is, if I'm talking about some recommendations over there, so you have to consider security whenever you are planning to, let's say, deploy any workload. If I want to deploy a SQL DB, so how to secure them? We have to understand how each of cloud service it works and how they can be protected. We can use different service enablement framework to evaluate as well over here. Then we talk about the automate and use the least privilege. So least privileges, when we are talking about the your least privilege, okay, someone is not required. There is a VM that is running, and in this VM there is a very important workload is running, right? You don't want someone to go ahead and stop this thing. So only a few limited people should be having that kind of a right that they can go ahead and start a VM or stop a VM, having that kind of access. Maybe just a read kind of a access you can give to most of the people. Yes, you can go and see that there is a VM, but you cannot change its state. So you will be looking for those kind of a thing. So you will be trying to looking for the, okay, give the least privileges, and in case wherever you can use the automation, like any malicious actor it try to perform some action over there, so take some automation action. And do not wait every time that someone from incident handling team will be coming and they will handle it. No, try to use some of the automation over there. Then one of the biggest challenge that revolve around the cloud is the data. If I am using the cloud service to store the data of my clients, there is a challenge, right? So we need to, our cloud service should be giving us the option of classifying the data and then encrypt the data. So moving ahead in one of the slide, we'll be talking about the same thing. Then there will be the monitor system security and planning the incident response that is going to be in there. Okay, so how to monitor, how to collect log, what solution we have if anything, any incident happen. So how our incident response teams, your computer emergency response team, how they will be responding, what tools, rules are available for them. You have to plan for that as well. Then all the endpoint that is involved in the your infrastructure, think about that, how to protect them. So monitor and protect the network integrity of internal and external endpoint through the security application or Azure services or any other services, whatever services you have, like using the things like firewall, web application firewall, DDoS protection, these kind of things will be over there, things over here, right? So these kind of a thing could be there. So yeah, so how to protect against them. Okay. And last thing is model and test against potential threat. So this is something that we keep doing. In simple term, what we keep doing in your on-premise pen testing. So you can start performing that kind of, you can create you can establish a procedure that how you are going to identify a threat, in the using the vulnerability analysis, right? And usually we have the tools like the Cloud Security Posture Management tool, CSPM, which let you know where you are lacking and how you can improve things. And a lot of the time we have some solution like CSPM, which give us option of the using the vulnerability assessment tools like Qualys, or in the Azure we have Microsoft Defender for endpoint as well. So you can do vulnerability assessment. When you have that, you can try to do pen testing as well, do the scannings and all those steps one more time. So it will give you the idea what is happening. Now, when we go ahead and try to protect our platform, so a few things I will be kind of summing it up and directly showing you the things that what can be done and what can not be done over there. So when we are talking about this whole scenario of protecting the platforms, so in this one, we will be just starting with the one of the concept, that is the layered security, right? So yes, concepts has been heard by the lot of the people. So when we are talking about the layered security, so I think one another name that is familiar with most of you guys is going to be this one: defense in depth. Okay, you might be knowing with this name, layered security, right? So same thing, different name. A simple concept is that if you have anything, right? If you have some data here, which is stored, let's say, on an endpoint, so how you can give protection to this particular data? So there is going to be the different things. Like first thing is, in your organization, there is a system that is storing, that is having some data, right? Office building is there. So first thing is going on like physical security. So someone has to get or bypass to that physical security. Then identity and access management. So there is happening something like, who are you? Someone is asking, okay, so your identity card and all those kind of things. Then there is going to be the your parameter security. Like, okay, if even someone is doing the attack from the internet and through the network, there is going to be the solutions like your firewall, which will be looking that, okay, who are you, and are you allowed to have connection with our machines or not, that kind of thing is going to happen. Then there is going to be the network layer security, that will be providing you and checking that what is going on. Like in cloud we have something like the NSG over here, on the network level checking the data routes, VPNs, so at that level checking out these things. Then on the compute, on the system itself, we have lot of the different solutions like DLP solutions, endpoint, malware secured, malware solutions, those kind of things are there. Then you provide application security. If the data is accessible via an application, someone is trying to connect to the application, so protecting yourself against the attack like cross-site scripting, protecting yourself against the CSRF, protecting yourself against the SQL injection, right?
So these kind of a thing will be, you might be deploying some web application firewall in between. Okay. And then there is going to be the data. So if everything is breached and someone reaches the data, so one of the last thing that you can do is encrypt that data, so that unless you have a proper key to understand what is going on, you are unable to totally understand the data, right? So I can only decrypt the data with the key itself. So you need to get that key. So this is the layered security architecture which provide multiple level of protection. And attackers, what they will do, they will have to peel through a multiple layer of security over here. So when we are talking about the some of the best practices over here, layered security design principles, right? So in those ones, what is going to happen is we are talking about different things that can be performed. Very small thing, like in your organization, you are doing the network segmentation, right? Divide these, your network into the small segment itself. So when we are talking about these kind of a thing, these segments, like a VNet can be divided into the multiple subnet. Now, when you will be going ahead and some of the other services like in here, like WAF is there, similar to this, there is going to be the network security groups and multiple other solutions. So these kind of solution can be attached at the subnet level, which can work as a simple, very basic packet filter firewall kind of a thing. So what it will be doing in that packet filter firewall, it will check whether which IP address you are trying to make a connection, from where you are trying to connect, and based on that, whether you should be allowed or you should be blocked. That kind of thing will be here, right? So from this level, very basic things, your security will be starting, right? Then you will be moving ahead and thinking about the DDoS protection. So most of the cloud service provider, they give you the DDoS protection, and even for your resources, you can separately go ahead and purchase the your DDoS protection. But trust me, these things are actually quite costly as well, what I have seen. So unless if you have some of the your data source which at any cost you have to protect, so there I would say that kind of the two things, like in Azure free tier, there is a basic tier which is a free tier that is enabled for all resources, all you don't need to pay a single thing. Then if you require something like a standard protection very specifically for some web server that you have hosted on the cloud, then you have to choose for this DDoS protection, right? There are different ways of how they will provide you security. There is going to be the your firewalls, right? So you will be deploying the firewalls in there. Okay, who can access, who cannot, right? Even in the VNet, you will be having web application firewall, going there and work on with this one. Now, what we will be seeing today, we will be seeing jump box and your Bastion server. Okay. So I think this concept everyone is familiar, jump server. If not, a simple example I would give. Let's say this is your organization's network, right? And in this network, there are multiple servers, like some web servers, databases, different workloads are running in simple terms. Now, what happens if all of these workloads they will be getting an public IP? Let's say that I have to perform some remote administration task on these machines. So if every one of these will be getting public IP, these get the means exposed to the internet. So what you have to do is you have to go ahead and you will be saying that protect each one of them. Now it will increase my attacking surface, and my security team have to go again, have to do some extra work all the time, keeping them safe, because attack surface has increased. Each web server can be connected through the internet individually, anyone can go ahead and connect. But rather than this, what we did in one of the net, we will be dividing this network, let's say in the two part, one subnet, another subnet. And in this subnet, what we have done, this server, we have given it the public IP address, and only a very specific person or IP address person can go ahead and connect with this server. Now, when that person can only, a specific IP address range can connect, or anyone that you have allowed can connect to the server. So what will happen? All of these are, what we are going to say, they doesn't require any of these public IP address. So people will first connect to the server. Now, through this server, they will be having connection to the different machine itself, right? Either you will be opening an RDP, session or anything. So this will be defining your particular way of going ahead and connecting. So from one machine, go ahead and connect with the another machine using the your server itself. So this is something that you can do. Then this server that you have created, which you are accessing through the internet, that is your jump server. Okay. And what why I have written Azure to there is a Bastion server as well. So Azure has their one of the other way. So jump box, you are manually going ahead and taking care of it. But with the Bastion server, you don't need to do that. So Microsoft has given you the option that just click on that create a Bastion server. One machine will be created for you, and we are going to go ahead and create this kind of a jump box for you and manage that for you. You just need to go ahead and just use the service. That's it. Okay. With that, one more thing, when you are remotely accessing, either it's a jump server, you need to make sure that there is a proper access management in place. Like there are different services, like a network security group, who can connect, how they can connect. Then there comes some of the paid services as well. Like in Azure, we have one service which is called your Microsoft Defender for Cloud. So it for the remote access ports, it has something which is called your uh, just in time access, JIT access, right? Something like this, which allows, let's say, that only for 3 hours giving someone some very specific user the permission to go ahead and access the machine. If you have those proper permission, then only for next 3 hours you'll be accessing the port, right? Plus performing the update management. So in the infrastructure service, you are responsible for operating system. So you need to go ahead and manage the your patch, the sub, your operating system and all those things, right? So this is just the first part, bit idea regarding these things. So what we are going to do is we are going to jump back over to the your portal. In here, we are going to go ahead and we are going to go and work with the your Microsoft Azure. So guys, just to give you the idea that how things work, few machines I have created in advance. Okay. So in this machines, I am having two machines. One is the CSP1, which is the first machine, CSP1. So this is although in the stopped state, right? Then I'm having the second machine, CSP2. Now, if I will tell you their architecture, and one thing I'm just noticing now, okay, I should have changed a bit different, but just to give you the idea. Now, if you will be reading the virtual network part, so my CSP1 is part of a subnet, which is the subnet 0. Okay. Now, CSP2 machine, it is part of the another subnet, which is subnet 1. Both of them are part of a same virtual network. Okay, my drawing is pretty bad, guys, and this is making it more and more bad itself, right? So this is here, right? Now what you want is, let's say that this is that jump server that what you were hoping for. Now from this jump server, you have to go ahead and you have to connect to the another machine over this place. So this is something that you want. Now for how you will do this, although I will be not opening and showing you the connection, just to give you the idea, because one thing that I made a mistake because I was trying to create the infrastructure in bit advance is The second machine I have created like the Linux one. Okay, so I have to enable the SSH connection over there through that machine only, and then in that machine I have to install the putty and then making the connection over here. So it will be the whole connection part will be taking the bit of the time, right? So I will be just showing you the idea that what is going to happen. But prior to that, if I will show you, this is first virtual machine. This virtual machine is part of the CSP VNet 1 and subnet 0. While CSP2 virtual network is same CSP VNet 1, but subnet changed to the subnet 1. If I will show you this VNet, just to give you the idea, if I open this virtual network over here, in this part, if I show you the subnets, there are three subnets, subnet 0, subnet 1, and subnet 2. And each of these subnets, if we go address spaces, the connected device section. So if you will see a chart here, so it is telling you that one network interface and second network interface name, that they are connected. One is connected to subnet 0, one is connected to the subnet 1. Right? This is happening. Now, what I don't want to get every time, if you will see public IP address, none. Right now, none is here. That means no public IP for this CSP2 machine. But let's say that if someone wants to go ahead and access this, how they will be accessing it? Because there is no way, no public IP. Let's say that I have to do some administrative tasks and I'm doing work from home. I'm sitting at my location. So how I'm going to do that, right? And this is the CSP1, which is going to act as your jump server machine. So two things what I have to do. So each of these machines is going to have their network security group attached to them. And for those guys who don't know about the network security group, it is kind of a very basic packet filter firewall kind of a thing, which can define on the basis of source, means your IP addresses and all, that who is allowed to connect and who is not allowed to connect. Then source and destination base, what protocol they are using to connect, which port they are trying to connect, whether they are allowed or they are denied. A very basic, simple rules that are there. So first of all, let's say that I want to make a rule, something like, that only my machine can go ahead and access this thing. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to look for my public IP address. What is my public IP address? So I'm just going to go ahead with that. So let me just come back over here. And what I'm going to do is on this machine, RDP connection is only allowed by the, right now, I will change it to a very specific IP address, give my IP address over here, that only my IP address can connect to this jump server, which is CSP01, coming with this name, right? And yeah, rest of the destination, I'm keeping it like any now. And this should be the, okay, I think I am adding a new bound rule. Okay, let me just update this rule, which is already in there. Let me just go ahead and edit this rule itself, right? So for rather than any, only RDP connection is allowed by my public IP address, and that's it, right? Although you can make it more and more strong, you can define destination as well, that what should be destination. I'm just kind of using a bit of a shortcut. I'm only allowing my IP address here to go ahead and connect with this VM. So only I can go and enable the connection on this jump server. So CSP1 is a jump server. Now CSP2 is the other machine that is in there, and now I want to connect to this one. So this machine also have the networking rule, which you can see, which is allowing SSH connection. Now this time what I am going to tell it, update this rule. Okay, so I'll be saying, okay, if only the traffic is coming from the jump server, and what is jump server's private IP address? This is 192.168.0.4, right? So let me copy this thing. So I will be going here, paste that private IP address. Now because they are on the same virtual network, they can access each other on the private IP address. Plus, I have made that rule very clear itself. So I'm just gonna go ahead and click on OK and save this rule. Now, SSH connection is only allowed from CSP1 machine, right? So this is kind of a manual thing, although to make it more secure, we have the solutions like just-in-time access. We have those kind of solution as well, which will be making it more and more work. Now, what I have defined is that CSP01 machine and CSP02 machine. This is acting as a jump server, and this is acting as my workload. Now, workload can only be connected through the CSP1 for administrative tasks I have defined in the SSH rule. Now, for the CSP, for the jump servers who can connect, if I will ask any one of you, let's say if I ask, your Deepak or your Murli or anyone here, that you have to go ahead and connect to this machine. So no, they cannot. Only my public IP has been defined. So let's say only the Rishabh can go ahead and connect to this jump server for now. So you can make this kind of connection more secure. There are more options as well. When you will be exploring any of the cloud, you'll be getting more options. So if you guys will be, if you have to see this whole thing to go through, so usually what needs to happen is I will be connecting to this window machine over here, which is I guess now running, and you can see the difference. This jump server has some public IP, while your CSP2 doesn't have any. And one more thing, that because I know that there is only one machine which is accessible through the internet, only that I need to protect. So if at any cost anything happens, so what is going to happen? I need to protect this machine. So protect this at any cost, make it very strong rules and all those kind of a thing. That will be there. So if you want to connect through the RDP, I'm just giving you the hint that what is going to happen. So when I will be going ahead and running with this one, okay, I'm connected to that machine in here. Okay, let me just close this one. And if you will see now, okay, here, what I have to usually do is I have to start another SSH session from here. Right now, I think I don't have any. So, okay, great. So there is the edge. So if from this machine, I want to connect to that Linux. So if I will open the connection, I will showing you a few simple things over here. Do not restore anything. Let me just download the putty. Okay, very small file. It is going to be in there. Okay. Oops, wrong one. Wrong one. Look like from the security center, I have kind of closed this thing. So this is here, right? Putty is here. So I have actually downloaded the wrong one for the ARM, I think ARM architecture. So here it is. This is the putty. Now, when we are talking about the putty, I can go ahead and connect from this machine. So this is my jump server. From the jump server, I can go ahead and connect to that. Now, the biggest problem that what we were facing was if I just simply go ahead and kind of come out of this thing. So here, this is my CSP2, right? This is my Linux machine. If I will try to go and make an access here, there is no public access. Like even though if I will open my terminal, right? If I will open my terminal itself, and from the terminal, if I would like to go ahead and make an SSH connection itself, right, to any of my Linux machine, going to be impossible because nothing is there. Even if I will try to make this connection on this private IP itself, right, on the private IP address, what is going to happen? it will be connecting. If either it will be simply saying disconnected, or if on the same public IP in my local network, if I'll be having some machine, it will try to connect to that machine, right? So no way for me to go ahead and connect to this CSP2. But if I copy this public, private IP address, which is 192.168.1.4, and I go back to my RDP connection over there. Okay, let me just go ahead, here. This is the private IP and put this IP address over here and click on OK. So we are going to go ahead and it will be simply asking me for now a username and the password. And if you will see here, I hope this thing is visible. I am connected with the demo user one, right? The machine. So through a jump server, I am getting a connection over here. So this kind of a thing we can get for the your uh, through the jump server. So one of the another proprietary solution kind of a thing or a managed jump server service is that I'm just giving you the bit of a hint. There is this Bastion service. So you can always click on this Bastion, use Bastion. What it will do, how this Microsoft Bastion service is different. So it is going to create a jump server for you. And this jump server will be working with only with this VNet. And when it will be working with only this VNet, another thing is that it will be giving you, rather than like I was using PuTTY or any other terminal to get a connection, this will be giving you only a very specific browser based view. Browser based view. That's it. So what it will do, it will be creating a jump server, which is, right now I am managing that. I am creating those rules. Who can connect to the jump server and all. No, no one, you don't need to manage that jump server aspect. Only create this Bastion service in the backend. Although it will be creating the same thing, it will be deploying a VM, which will be having some rule, but you don't need to worry about any of this thing. Plus, whenever you will click on connect, it will open a new browser tab. And in that tab, through the SSL TLS encryption, all of your data will be traveling and you will be having same like RDP connection or SSH connection of that machine. So that is another option that you got with the your Microsoft Azure here. So this is bit of the option in the platform security, that how you can get the connection of this. Apart from that, there will be the different option of protecting you, making your security better. That will be just in time access, which you can find under the Microsoft Defender for Cloud under this workload protection section, right? Just giving you a hint. So this was a platform protection. Now we will be jumping and just try to quickly understand that what is going to be the your data security, right? That what is the data security, what you required for the data security. Okay, when we are talking about the data security, I think one of the things that is coming into the everyone's mind is going to be the encryption. So if we are talking about from the point of view that I have to protect my data in cloud, so we need to have some good understanding of different concepts. So in the cloud, you will be having some of the keys. So properly using the different key storages, how to use them, how to work with them. There is going to be the your then encryptions, option of encryption, right? These kind of a thing, that how to use this thing. Plus, not only these things, there is going to be the something like who is responsible for what, understanding the roles and responsibility, who is responsible and for what. That is also the case. So roles, who can access what you can access. So on the same note, like who is responsible, who can have the access, I would like to start this data protection, right? Who is responsible for what activity, and then we can start planning out the data migration into the cloud in a secure way. So first thing is going to be the fundamental of your access control. So when we are talking about this thing, there is going to be the different scenarios involved. Like there is going to be the management plane. There is going to be the management plane. So what we are talking about, we are talking about how to manage the access of user that directly going to access your cloud platform. Like there is going to be the storage services. So who can access this thing, who cannot access this thing, who can get the data from there, who can update the data in there. That is the kind of thing that what we are talking about here. The entitlement by the your least privileges, right? Not everyone should be having the access on the storage as it is. You need to change few things. There is going to be the, when we are talking about the sharing controls, okay, uh, there is going to be the public and internal sharing control. That that would be like if data is needed to be shared with the externally or to with the public or with any partner who don't have the direct access to the cloud. Like in Azure, we have these storage services and we can store things like the object over there. Now we can give someone direct the URL. Now there are multiple way of doing it, securely doing it. So this is something that what we are feeling as a challenge, that controlling the things, how things will be, right? If you have to share this data publicly, even in the internally as well within your department, you need to keep monitoring that data. You require continuous monitoring, who access, when access, how they access, what tools they use for this one, from which IP they access. So that kind of thing you require. Then what else is there? There is going to be the application level. So if okay, one thing that is there, if let's just say that you develop an application who is using SQL database or the storage account that is there, okay, they are also using the storage, the data, right? So they are also going to use the same storage to store the application or going to store this thing. So who can access the application? Do you register the application? Does application having some key to access the data? That kind of a thing is going to be in there. Now, two common concept that you have find in the data security anywhere. Talk about basic security courses, talk about any of the thing. These concepts are always going to be there, and that is going to be the your encryption and the tokenization. Two concepts. Encrypting means, we use what? We have some mathematical algorithm, right? So we use that and we convert your plain text onto your cipher text, right? That is the concept, which will be seen like completely random thing, humanly unreadable. No, I'm not making any sense out of that. That will be this encryption, and this is the ciphertext. So I'll be using keys over there to encrypt the data, and if I want to get the original data back, again using the key and getting the my plain text back. So this will be a cycle that will be there. Okay. So in simple terms, result of the encryption is going to be this unreadable cipher or unrecognizable cipher text. While on the other hand, this tokenization, what it did, it take the data and replace it with some random value. One of the best example that you must have seen is your phone number. Okay, like this. Okay, this is my number, but you cannot make any sense out of this. Then there is going to be your credit card details. So that is what tokenization is happening in between. So this is the tokenization system over there and what we need to understand as well. Now, one thing you need to be very clear about that with the different kind of the services that has been provided to you, like either it is a infrastructure as a service, or is it a PaaS service, or is it a SaaS service? What is it? Based on that, you will be given the you will be having different encryption option for your data. Like one thing that you have to keep in mind, if you guys are familiar with the software as a service, so what is happening in this one, you don't have too much of a control onto the application. So only with the data, either your provider has given you some option that you can use your keys to go ahead and encrypt the data, or you will be using the proxy in between. Okay, so that the data before it is leaving your organization or your devices, first it is encrypted and then it is forwarded to the cloud. Are you, or you are using something like that? Those options you have to understand. While in the past, either it is happening on the application level itself, right? So in the application level, like in Azure there is a SQL database. So in the your application level itself, there is some option. Usually you have a different option at the application layer. Data is being encrypted in the pass application, or the client accessing the platform during that. While in the database level, two things that should be there. One is going to be the your transparent data encryption. I think you guys who is familiar or worked with in the past, TDE is a very common term. Transparent data encryption. Either you will have option as a enable or a disable. So this is to protect your data at rest. Okay. Then for your data at rest, in transit, or in use, you can use something like field level encryption, where your data, if it is in the uh, RDBMS like SQL, it is field wise, column wise, and can encrypt it one by one. That is going to be the other option in the past. Then in the infrastructure service, you have the option like different disks are there. There is object storage. There is volume storage, like disk attached to your particular VMs, right? So those options are there. So does VMs has this option? Obviously, yes. So if I will show you this thing on the cloud, that what and where are these options, this is my machine. These are multiple machines that I am having. If I will take you to these machines disk part, okay, this is this machine. This is the disk, operating system disk. If you will see, encryption is enabled here. So if you want to read more about the disk encryption, it will be giving you a link. You can go and check out these things. So what we have managed service side encryption with the platform managed key. So Azure has generated the key for this one, and they are managing this whole encryption. I have the option of customer managed key as well, right? So whenever you are creating a VM, let's say that you want to create a VM, in that time itself on the disk part, you will be having this option, encryption type, customer managed key. I want to use my keys, right? So that option is also there. Okay. So you will be getting these kind of a option as well, encrypting your disk storages as well. And here you guys can read all the detail like server side encryption with the Azure disk storage, uh, Azure encryption key management, how the key should be managed, and all that all is going to be the part here as well. You can read and understand. If in my cloud platform I have to manage my own keys, there is a one service with the name this key vault, which will be helping me. This one, key vault. This is going to help me to generate key, passwords, secrets, right? Storing certificates as well. I can generate my keys, I can store my keys over here. So I can use another services like this to encrypt my data as well. So these options are available on the disk part I'm showing. This is just the disk. There is going to be I hope that there is some storage accounts, right? Like the object. So there also, when you are creating a new storage account, there is always going to be the option of encryption. Even after that as well, you will be finding these things, encryption option. Right now, Microsoft managed key I am using. If you want to use your own key, right, you have your own key,
So you can use them as well to encrypt the data. So you can click on simply the customer manage key, give the URL, right? Whatever URL you are having, or from, this is my keys URL, that this is where I have stored, and start using your keys, right? And even to access this database, what you will be having, you will be having your keys over here, right? Which you will be giving to the application to go ahead and authenticate themselves. So this is just the storage account. There is also the encryption option. And one other thing in the pass service I would like you to show is going to be, I think I'm having a database over here somewhere. uh, database service. SQL database. Great. This is the database that I am having. Now in this database as well, if you will be going ahead and you will be seeing that there should be the option of, first of all, this is the TDE option, transparent data encryption, which is enabled. I can enable here the your field level encryption, but for that, what I'm going to require is I'm going to require the your for the field level encryption. What I would say that what is required is your SQL Server Management Studio I can use, and I can enable one by one the your encryption over here as well. So this is something that different option on the your cloud for the encryption. You will see that always cloud is going to give you the never going to leave you like uh, on your own, different options which is going to satisfy you. Those options in term of encryption it is going to provide, plus it has that tokenization option here. If you will see, this dynamic data masking will be giving you that kind of a option of the generating those tokens, right? So different services is provided in the past as well. So you have to think about that what you are wanting. That's why designing is something that is going to be important part. Okay. Okay, this was the database encryption part itself. Then another important aspect, so different services we have seen for the databases, past services. In the disk is there is options, storage account there is options. He will be helping you to generate, sharing that data and sharing that data securely. So that kind of the help will be by that. Then there is going to be your identity part. Now, so guys, I think with the emergence of the cloud, if you have noticed something, there is always the talk of the zero trust model, that trust no one, verify everything. Okay, zero trust means yeah, not trusting, as name is suggesting, I'm not going to work. So here is someone with the name Microsoft account, so I'm not going to trust it. I have to verify who are you, Microsoft account, someone joining with the name Microsoft account. So I just want to know who are you, how I can trust you, what is your email address, what is your name, what is your contact number. Once I am satisfied, then only I will be allowing the access of anything. Now, this is becoming a kind of a new security pillar. If you will be asking me, I would say that it is becoming your new very important security pillar. So from a very long time, if you see, CIA was a part, but now identity and access management also start becoming something that is important. This is a modern time. So we have the zero trust model. So zero trust model always say trust no one, verify everything, right? Verify explicitly. Now in the authentic, we already know two things, two concept. One is authentication, another one is authorization, right? So when we are talking about the authentication, so in simple terms, again, this part again helped by the Microsoft. They are very kind to provide us the diagrams and all, right? So in this one, authentication is
identify the person or service seeking the access to a resource. Like I was telling you, someone here joined with the name Microsoft account. So if that person want to access any resource like a web app, I will be verifying. Okay, give me the idea. Who are you? How you? Where you are working, and all that kind of a thing. So that's the one thing. Then there is going to be the for verifying itself. So we are talking about that you are going to require some legitimate credentials. So going ahead, we'll be talking about the few different things. Okay, plus basis for creating secure identity and access control principle. So I always say whenever first time that you go to the any organization, their first thing is done is means a username and a password is created for you. These talking about credentials. Now, next time I want to use any of my organization's resources, I have to provide these credentials. Once I provide these credentials, what will happen? Then only the access to me for using anything will be given. So that is happening. Now, if such kind of thing is happening, okay, that uh, access is given. So over the time, only the username and password is not considered secure. So there are few more methodology that has been developed. Like, okay, I would like you guys to go ahead and read about the Microsoft's Hello passwordless sign in. Passwordless sign in. So how these passwordless sign-ins are happening, that is going to be discussed. So authentication, then there is going to be authorization. So let's say that the person give the username and password and just say that okay, I want to use your SQL database. So you know is always okay. I give you one example. Like you have that you want to enter your office premise, you have your RFID card, you put it on the tap it on the gate open, you go into the office. You are not directly storm into the CEO office and start giving order to everyone unless you are the CEO, right? So same thing is authorization. So what is happening with that? I enter my username password. I said that I am accessing the SQL database, but what happened? It will first verify that do I have the permission to access the SQL database. Even though I have the permission to access the SQL database, what kind of permission? Can I perform read operation? Can I perform write operation? Can I update there? Can I create a new row? That kind of a thing. So in simple terms, we are not deep diving in the IAM part here. I'm just giving you the idea. Authentication and authorization is very important here. And for the identities, as I was saying, that not only username is password is enough. So what concept we start having? We start having the concepts like different things goes on, like something something you possess, something you are, somewhere you are not, somewhere you are, or you are. So means something what your username and password something you possess, what you possess, maybe a device, RSA token device, right? Then something you are, your fingerprints, your retina scan, heartbeat scan, that kind of thing. Then somewhere you are. So somewhere you are, like let's say I created a policy only if you are in India, then only you can access your account. So somewhere you are, I'm in India, somewhere you are not. Let's say I have marked some of the site places, like blacklist them, like Russia, for example, or Ukraine. So I'm just kind of blacklisting those. If I got connection from there, even though that is saying that it is Bala or Sankal, I'm not going to allow them. Why? Because they are accessing my service from a place where it is not allowed. So this is that authorization, different ways of doing this. So you combine these concepts and give someone the access. Now, as we were talking about that, how these things are going to be, these, okay, I think I forgot to change the heading. So this will be more of the Azure's Active Directory. So in the Azure cloud, so
most of the time, I know that from last 20 to 25 years, industry standard is using the Windows AD services. Kerberos and all will be going on and different things. So we are using something like this. That is the on-premise solution. In cloud, what happened is that Microsoft has given you the option of Azure Active Directory. So this Azure Active Directory, it will give you the different features like application management. I can register my application, single sign-on, authentication, business to business, business to customer identity service, device management, and many paid feature as well. Like you'll be finding multi-factor authentication. You will be finding the your what we have identity protection service. We have the conditional access policy, which use the feature, these things as a signal, something, something you are, where you are, these kind of things is a signal. And they have their own artificial intelligence and machine learning process, which understand where you are, from where you are trying to access, and then give you the access on a basis of that, right? So let's just quickly see this thing practically over the Azure portal. If I will take you to the Active Directory, where is my Active Directory? Active Directory, yeah. So if I will take you to the Active Directory here, so in this one there will be a lot of features, and let me tell you, Microsoft has different license, okay, like premium P1, premium P2, E5, E4 for the O365. You have to purchase them, and which with each of these certificates, what happen is, or licenses, each features, new features kind of unlocked for you. So when we are talking about these things in my directory, let's say a very simple thing I want to do. For example, Sankalp was someone who joined my organization. So I can go in this particular part, and what I can do, I can create a new identity for him. Going here with the temporary credentials itself. Let me just click on create a new user, give it a name like the Sankalp, right? Giving the name like Sankalp over here. Okay, name we have given. I can give more other details like office, rules, different things, but let's just fine with it. So I will be creating a temporary password. So either I am going to create it, or let me just auto generate this password. So let me just create one temporary password, like anything like test at the rate 1234, something like that, right? So I'm creating this kind of a thing, and you know this Active Directory has other features as well. So right now just I'm creating a simple user with the temporary credentials. So a user I have created with the temporary credentials over this place. So you can see that this is going to be the Sankalp. Okay, look like I need to refresh this page. Successfully created the okay, in the S I can see only two names. Let me just refresh this thing. Yeah, here it is Sankalp. Now if Sankalp is required to log in into this one, so what I am going to do, just give me a sec. Let me hope that, yeah, everything is on the right place. And let me open a new browser, not a same browser, a different one. Now when I will try to log in into the Azure portal, portal.azure.com. Okay, so I will be okay. Oh, I forgot to show you that what is the Sankalp's username. So let me just go back, and on the Sankalp's username, this is the Sankalp's user principal name. So let me just copy this name from here. Let me come back and paste this thing, right? And then
Okay, what was the password? Okay, hopefully I'm remembering the password right. Usually my habit is to write somewhere, write it somewhere else, but this time I kind of forgot doing that. Okay, great. So password is correct. This is it. And as you say that I use the temporary credentials. So it is saying type new one. Okay, now I have to create a new password for Sankalp. Right. Uh, we have seen, okay. And this is their own artificial intelligence working, which is saying that this password is very common. Use something else. So we will be using, okay, some unique credential we created. Okay, it is again saying that you cannot contain these kind of a some limitation that they have put. So okay, so now I am logged in. After changing the password, it allowed me the login over here. Okay. This is where I am right now. Right. No. So this is the Sankalp's account. If you will see here, this is the Sankalp's account. Now on the same note, what I was trying to talk about as well, that there is going to be the few other things. So this has the feature, if you look into the default directly, so there is going to be the option of external identities, rules administrator, app registration, identity governance. Security will be having options like multi-factor authentication, conditional access policy, identity protection, security centers. Different features are there. You can create groups as well, right? So these things are going to play a very important part over here. So we have the directory services, multiple other things here. So this is the another important aspect when we are talking about the cloud. So proper authentication and authorization should be happening all the time, right? Now, one of the last topic for the day, which we'll be seeing, is going to be the security operation in the cloud. So when we are talking about the security operation in the cloud, let me just talk about the logging, right? So logging is going to be a very important part in the cloud security, right? Uh, because if you have to get insight what is happening in my cloud, who logged in, when they logged in, right? I want to know these kind of a thing. Okay, even who created a VM, if someone try to brute force. So when I can get this kind of idea, when I have insight what is happening my resources, and that is the one way is collecting the logs what is happening and then understand and give some solutions. So collecting logs from multiple environment, there is SaaS, PaaS, IaaS, all things. Collect all of those services at once, and then try to understand them. Different ways through the APIs, collect the logs. Through the different connectors, use the logs. There are the different ways of collecting the logs itself over there. And a lot of the time, what you will be having, so in the cloud there will be cost associated to it, networking cost, storage cost. Then some of the logs will be changing in every 4 to 5 days, right? That they will be deleted, so you have to get them before they get deleted. Okay, those kind of challenges you will be facing in the cloud. Some of the solutions, if we talk about the logging and monitoring solution, in AWS we have CloudTrail, CloudWatch. In Azure we have Monitor Service. log analytic workspace, which help you in collecting logs, monitoring them, raising alerts, all those kind of a thing. Now these things they work, there is something like a security as a service. So like a very simple thing I want to discuss is what we have in the Azure is Microsoft Sentinel. So in this Sentinel is a SIM service, a SIM solution. Similar to this, many of the anti-malware solution, multiple of these kind of a solutions, they are like their, they are just like your what I would say is a cloud service, right? Anti-malware services, your defender, vulnerability scanners. These services are given to you as a cloud service. Now, what will be, people start using a common terminology for them, that is security as a service. So, what is a security as a service? It can consist of wide range of services. So, those services I will be discussing. Okay, these things should be these security product and solution. They need to be delivered via the cloud. So, in my one of the last webinar, which I am talking about, the cloud security practitioner. Okay, bootcamp, again I am reminding you, this bootcamp you can found in the our Infosec trains YouTube channel. So visit that, they will be having, there I discuss the NIST special publication 800-145, that how cloud is defined over there. It generally represent your few categories, the BRROM, five characteristic of a cloud. So it should be, you know going ahead and fulfilling these five characteristics, like broad network access, rapid elasticity, right? Your, you know uh, or your, what we say, self service, on demand self service, right? There should be, okay, I'm just myself forgetting few points over here, but these kind of things should be fulfilled over there. Rapid elasticity should be there, managed service should be there, right? You don't need to contact every time the cloud. So if it followed these five of the your characteristics, it will be your security as a service. Now when we are talking about what kind of solutions you can see over there, there is going to be the IAM solution, key management solution, like I was showing you, the key vault, DDoS protection, security assessment services, business continuity disaster recovery services, CASB solutions, web security gateways. There will be web application firewall, email security, IDS, IPS, SIM solution, firewall solutions. So all these are security as a service over here. Now, just in a glimpse in the portal itself, what we are going to do is we are going to discuss about the, these options, that getting the logs. So I am in the directory. There is a feature like I am generating these sign in logs. So let's say that I want to get these logs, right? These are the logs that has been generated. Now I want to forward them. So what I can do, this is the sign in logs. There will be audit log, provisioning logs. So there will be settings like this: diagnostic setting. I can add a diagnostic setting, and I can select which logs, like you will see ADFS log, risky user event, service principal log, audit log, sign in logs. I can forward it to a solution which is called a log analytic workspace, or to a storage account itself. Now, those, I was talking about this log analytic workspace. So for the people, I just want to give you the idea that we have some service which is called a log analytic service. So this log analytic service, what it is a centralized log collection. I in simple language call it log. So this is something that will be collecting the log from the multiple places. Okay, this will be collecting the log from your let's say VMs, web apps, from the, your active directory itself. Lot of the places it will be collecting the logs. So it is a centralized solution, and it can store your logs. It has features. So what I have done, actually, I was having some other sessions. So in those other sessions, I have created this log analytic workspace already in advance. Plus, this log analytic workspace, this solution that you are seeing, actually it is working with the one of another your security solution, which is Microsoft Sentinel. Okay. And if someone is interested in the Microsoft Sentinel, we have a boot camp on the Microsoft Sentinel as well, right? So if anyone is interested, you guys can again check our Infosec trains channel. There I have conducted this boot camp as well on the your uh, particular Microsoft Sentinel itself. So you guys can check that out as well. So this is the Sentinel service that I am having, and this Sentinel service is working on the top of the log analytic workspace. So that log analytic workspace is going to collect multiple logs. Okay, we also conduct training on the Microsoft Sentinel, which is beginner to the intermediate level. For those, this training is for someone who is pretty much beginner, okay, in the Sentinel and Azure, and just want to learn it up to the your mid level. So we have that training as well. So when we are talking about this thing, Microsoft Sentinel, so already I think there should be some of the, this is working on top of those logs. So if you will see, this was my log analytic workspace. In here, I was collecting the logs, different way that I was collecting logs. Although right now it would be selected like last 24 hour of log, but if I will scroll down, there will be different tables where you can see when, where this thing has been generated, right? So I have some queries that I run, and these queries are in KQL. And again, another information that these logs that you have collected, you can query them with the KQL. And for the KQL as well, I was having that 4 hour of a boot camp. This also is available in our Infosec training channel. So most of the, you know, overviews, information you want, you will be finding it in our channel. So you can subscribe to our channel as well over there, right? So this is the log analytic workspace, which is collecting log. If I will show you the logs for this one, just a sample. Okay, some event logs preview data. Okay, now log data for last 24 hours. So let me make it like last 7 day and show you something like the sign in logs and run this thing. So I have collected those logs, placed these logs here, and there are multiple other ways of doing this. So you can see a heap of a logs that I have collected, right? So you have these option of collecting the logs, enabling them. This is just the sign-in logs. Even I have performance logs, sys logs as well, users logs, some of the different logs I have collected. And I am using, on the top of that log collection service, I'm using this, sim service, sim and source service, which is allowing me to connect and collect different resources. Those could be third party resources as well, like from AWS as well. I can start collecting services. If you are using Barracuda, CloudGen firewall, WAF, from there as well. Cisco solutions, checkpoint solution, you can see all those connectors I am having over here, right? So there are different ways. Not only this, from your Azure cloud platform itself. So if you will scroll down here, up or down, you'll be finding Azure services like Active Directory, Active, Azure Activity, DDoS protection, Azure Firewall. So from your cloud, from your third party, from everywhere, you can go ahead and collect the your data itself, log itself. So security logs and security solutions are very important. Security operations are important because we collect log, we get the insight, we analyze the data, run query, something suspicious, whatever we can find. You can see Forcepoint, F5, Microsoft Defender services, and all these services that are here, third party services. We have these options to go ahead and get the all data that is in there, right? So you will see something like this is happening. and okay, last 24 hour no incident. Prior to that, there is only one incident that happened. That was me showing some demo, right? So this is, an incident where someone tried to clear the security event log. And if you will see this one, it will be mapped onto the MITRE's, defense evasion tactic. So I can drop it down. You can see T1070 indicator removal on host. So it is directly mapped to the MITRE's framework here as well. So this kind of services are also available on the your cloud services. This is a security operation service, security as a service, right? So we have a heap of information and array. So I just try to show you that what things you require, like identity playing important role, collection of log, security operation, your platform protection and data protection. And this is just the overview of securing your cloud for basic needs. So if you'll be looking in depth, so you remember I was talking about the governance, risk, compliance, business continuity, disaster recovery. These things you should be keeping in mind to protect your cloud. So what we have seen today is four part, and in those four part we have seen your platform protection. First, we started with bit of a basic. We talk about the platform protection. Then we will talk about the data protection. Then IAM part that is available. And let me tell you, in all the cloud, you will be finding best IAM solution is by the Azure Active Directory. GCP also have IAM, AWS also has the IAM, but the best part is from the your Azure. And then there is going to be the your that is going to be your after this Azure, and then after this GCP and all have that, but best one is with the Azure. And in the last one there is going to be your particular security operations and security solution. So this was, this is just the idea of these parts. So if I'm talking about security as a service, there is also going to be the firewall. You can search. There is going to be the your WAF solution. There is going to be the Azure firewall, right? That is going to be the Azure firewall is also there. There is going to be the your WAF web application, firewall as well from the Azure. So different options are going to be in there. Web server, web application, Azure web application, firewalls, different solutions are going to be in there, which will be helping us, okay, to protect our environment. And this is just the example of Azure I'm taking. You will be finding similar kind of the terminology solutions in the AWS as well, right? So all the cloud service provider, they try to give you some solution. Some of the services you can take as a third party and need to protect the your whole infrastructure, cloud infrastructure, which is a new kind of attacking surface for the attackers with the inception of the cloud and emergence in the last 2 years due to this pandemic situation. So I hope you guys have enjoyed today's webinar, which was regarding your how to secure your cloud, right? So still, if you guys are interested in different things, like I was talking about the cloud security practitioner in the very beginning. So that course are for someone who is already familiar and preparing for somewhere like the mid managerial level courses, or if you are preparing for CCSP and you want to make your base, you can go for the courses like this our in-house offering cloud security practitioner, which will be talking about the cloud security and GRC, all the things. Plus, if you guys are interested in the your MS Sentinel, Microsoft Sentinel, like I got the message. So I am just going to go and drop some details for you. This is our website. This is our sales if email address and some of the toll free number.